What is going on, world? Welcome back once again. My name is ZacNovak and this is ZacNovak Plays Games. In today's video we've got This Week at Bungie. Third time recording this because my computer just doesn't want to work with me. Rolling intros, let's get straight into it, and I do hope you enjoy. This Week at Bungie. In the recent months, a series of updates for Destiny 2 has added some quality of life improvements to the game. On May 8th, Bungie is going to deliver even more. Tuesday itself can't come any sooner. Seriously, it can't. If you guys want to check out videos on what is coming in Season 3 and Expansion 2, you can check out the actual videos I've got on my channel somewhere. Just, search around for them. Or you can actually just come on the actual Bungie website, check out their stuff because, it's actually the Bungie stuff. Anyway. Cheers to Vicarious Visions for their passion and dedication to the craft of creating amazing experiences for players. They've been wonderful partners with Bungie on the way of the journey to getting to Destiny 2 on PC and the Warmind, which is now under their collective belts. They're actually excited to talk about the future of this collaboration. Before they do go into the contribution to the world of Destiny 2, the creative designer Brent Gibson has a message from his team. Brent goes on to say that the company in itself has been fans of Bungie for quite some time, even before they did work with them. Now with their actual ability for them to be fortunate enough to work with Bungie, it's actually getting to go into the whole gameplay experience and change things up that's going to make the franchise in itself a whole lot bigger and a whole lot better. I do have to state that, as they do say, the legendary hunter Anna Bray to life in itself is coming to life, which is pretty freaking cool because we all thought she was dead. Anyway, she carries over the banner through this entire journey, and we can't wait for, them to actually see us play, and I can't wait to actually play it myself. They do have this quick brief rundown of the Destiny 2 narrative preview if you kind of want to go through, but I will say it does contain some spoilers, so maybe don't actually read all of it. I kind of went through and read a little bit of it, then I was like, too much spoilers. I kind of want to just save some of it for, actually get to experience it firsthand. There is also the digital Warmind comic if you guys want to actually read that, which I will say is pretty freaking cool and is an amazing read. The comics in themselves that Bungie are putting out is just amazing. I really like them. There is also 2 new developer inside videos that actually give more details on what to expect when Warmind in itself does launch. The creative director Brent Gibson from Vicarious Visions and design lead Evan Nikolai from Bungie shed some light on the state of Mars, Rasputin, and the enemies that will be introduced in this actual new DLC. Sandbox design lead Josh Henrik and senior crucible design Kevin Yarns walked us through an exotic masterwork weapon process with additional information about crucible ranks, which will be actually available and attainable to players in Season 3, which begins on May 8th. If you want to check out either of these videos, I'll just play them both here.
Warmind is a start of the new conversation. It's a step forward in the direction we want to start taking Destiny.
We want content that brings us back and makes us want to play more. And so we knew that campaign was something that we needed to have nice and tight, but it was the new activities that we added to the destination that was much more important.
And we wanted to add pursuits in the destination, new gear sets and chasing after Seraph-themed weapons and gear. So we want players to feel like they're grinding with purpose, as I call it, focused on I know what I'm going for, I want to get it, and I'm going to keep playing. It's kind of similar to what we just had with the DFA and the Nightfall. And we want that same feeling of I know that Seraph sniper rifle's behind there.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep grinding against this thing to get that gun.
Absolutely. There's going to be lore attached to all of these discoverables that are digging into that Warmind, Clovis Bray, Anna Bray relationship. You explore the glaciers, you're in the Clovis Bray facility. Yeah, and the Warmind
is, sitting up high, but then, we have activities that run you through the tunnels that the Hive have dug out, and you come out into Hellas Basin, and then you see the skybox, you see the Rasputin pyramid, and it's just such an evocative thing of I want to find out what is there. Diversity inside of this destination is out of control. Yeah, huge scalloped walls of ice, but then big open expanses when you're on the top of the surface. There's a really cool dichotomy between all the spaces.
Well, one of the things that we wanted to do was bring back the big boss fight, and so we built the destination in a way that teases and ramps up to that big fight.
Destination always had in mind the worm god, and like this whole like it started with Rasputin, and then I think the next step after that was like, who are we fighting?
Formidable foe.
Formidable foe, yeah.
Yep.
And Vivi definitely is like all about the big bosses. And really wanted to bring a big boss in, and
no matter how crazy you thought
yeah,
we
and
were.
it was the marriage of these two and like making them coexist in a cohesive manner.
Another thing that came out from the playtest was the new relic we're actually putting in. You get the opportunity to actually wield a weapon of Rasputin's own design, and it's this javelin we call the Valkyrie that is a really deadly long-range weapon, but yet it's super powerful if you decide to use it in melee up front.
So we have all new campaigns to start out with. We've added new adventures, new quests, new exotics for players to find, and we have the new escalation protocol activity that we're adding. So we're encouraging players to stick around, play the destination, explore it, uncover its secrets, and learn more about Rasputin and the Bray family.
So in 1.2.0, we're refreshing a bunch of the weapon exotics. We're making them significantly deadlier and more interesting and powerful. We're adding Masterworks to all of them. The way that Masterworks will work for exotic weapons is unlike legendaries, which allow you to increase a stat and then re-roll to get the stat that you're desiring. Exotic Masterworks are hand-built to be awesome for the exotic that they've been chosen for. And so once you get a Masterworked version of exotic, that is the one true Masterworked version of that exotic weapon. And it can be anything from some crazy stat bump to some behavioral change, and they're really, really good.
I think Vigilance Wing was like a good preview into what that looks like, right?
Yeah.
The hot 0.8 time to kill that we're not nerfing.
Right. No,
we're
not nerfing.
embracing that.
Yeah.
We're gonna spread that love around.
Yep. And so yeah, we're gonna see a lot more weapons that are capable of pulling off shenanigans the way that Vigilance Wing currently is.
And me personally, I'm super excited for Tractor Cannon. We added suppression to it, which means you're gonna be able to bait supers or players into the ultimate death trap, and it's going to be hilarious. And it's already hilarious.
If you think hurling people off the map is fun, wait till you hurl them out of their super against the wall.
And you hurl them out of the map and they can't jump.
They just plummet. Yeah, it's pretty glorious. And then Crucible has all sorts of stuff coming.
Ton of changes coming to Crucible in Season 3. The two big ticket items that I think everyone's excited for are seasonal Crucible ranks and private matches. I'm super excited for private matches for a number of reasons, but my personal bias is it enables tournaments. It enables people to organize to make their own tournaments, and you get to foster this community that strictly exists to showcase skill, to showcase mastery, and I love watching that. I used to watch all the D1 tournaments all the time, and I'm super excited to see those return. People have been asking for Crucible ranks specifically for a long time, and we've definitely heard the feedback, and we finally found a good place, a good home for it with Season 3. Especially with Crucible ranks, we needed a reward that was going to motivate people, that was going to push people to grind through the glory ranks, and we worked very closely together to craft a very unique gun. It's called Redrix's Claymore, and I think when players see that, when they get their hands on it, they're going to realize immediately that, holy,
it's pretty good.
I need to get this gun.
We're gonna keep listening, keep talking, keep making changes, I'm sure we'll make a change and people are like, we don't love this, right?
And they'll let us know.
And they'll tell us.
They'll tell us.
We'll make another change, and hopefully this one is much better.
And honestly, give us feedback on the formats we're choosing, give us feedback on the streams, the YouTube video. If you like this, let us know. We'll do more of them, for sure. Let's keep the conversation rolling.
Yeah.
We'll come back on the twab, we'll come back on streams, just give us that feedback. Let us know what you want to see and how you want to keep talking.
Alrighty, so I do have to say, one of the big things I actually kind of took out of both of those was, well, Bungie is actually listening to players, and now with the whole thing where they're actually asking us to ask them to be on, more streams, be in the TWAB and all stuff like that, I do have to say, it's looking really good, so I'm excited for this expansion, and I am getting pretty hyped, even though you shouldn't really get overhyped for stuff. I'm getting freaking overhyped here, people. Speaking of hype, now they do have the patch note preview, which in previous articles they have actually been diving deep into the details of the design goals for some of the larger changes coming in Season 3. There's actually been quite a bit more Destiny to update in 1.2.0, so here actually is a quick breakdown and rundown of an overview of the feature changes and bugs that are also going to be deployed next week, which kinda to myself, you know, when they say bugs, they always mean there's going to be other bugs that they can't actually, you know, define as of yet, but let them know if you do actually stumble upon any of these crazy bugs. But going into it, a short-term solution, vault space has actually been increased from 200 to 300 items. I'm not really sure why they said as a short-term solution. I think maybe potentially it's going to be because, you know, you can get things back or re-roll them in some way to actually store them somewhere else. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but still, 300 items, that's pretty cool. An extra 100 to freaking save, I'm happy about that. We also have the multi-emote, which now itself can be configured with all 4 emote options on the player selected emotes. The entire emote collection is now always available to you from convenience swapping, and items in the emote collection have been removed from the vault as they are no longer needed. Which that, I do have to say, is really, really cool. And that's actually probably one of the steps that they're taking to, as they did say, a short-term solution. Maybe this is another short-term solution for the long-term solution where things actually change out so we have more stuff that we can actually keep in our vaults. Because there's too many weapons in the game, Bungie. We need to just collect them. Be like, Guided games will now feature a Leviathan guide emblem that tracks the number of raid encounters and raids a player has completed as a guide. This emblem rewards as a unique aura for 14 days after a player completes a raid as a guide, and once a week while the aura is active, guiding a raid to completion grants 1 bright engram. So if you are a guide out there, good for you, keep going with it and doing that, it's pretty cool. A new inventory category has been created that will contain pursuit tracking items such as these exotic quests, and items in the pursuit categories are specific to each character and not shared across the account, so be aware of that. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Make sure we don't actually have to carry any of the quest items in our actual weapon slots. I like it. There's also in-game audio changes. Sliders between 1 and 10 have actually been added or revised. The sound effects volume, dialogue/cinematic volume, the music volume, and chat volume. I am really grateful with that because I really don't like when someone's screaming and I can't hear my music, or if I can't hear my music because someone's screaming, or either way around and vice versa. Either way it works, I like it because there's volume sliders. Weekly lockouts for raid and raid lair rewards are now class based. Players running multiple characters of the same class will receive rewards only the first time they run the raid or raid lair in a given week. So people that have 3 hunters or 2 titans or 3 warlocks or whatever, yeah, you're not going to be too happy with that if you do run the raid. So make sure you've got 1 of each character just so you can get that actual flavorness from all 3 spices. They also fixed an issue with collections where event emblems were not actually shown up unless players owned Curse of Osiris. They fixed an issue where players would encounter a black screen upon loading into the tower. They fixed an issue where Cade was also offering only 1 treasure map for Mercury, which, as I said, Cade was drunk. He had to have more like catches out there. He does. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. For a full suite of patch notes, they will actually be published on May 8th, shortly before the Warmind becomes available. They're actually targeting for a 10 AM release time, but stay tuned to @Bungie on Twitter for announcements. And moving over to the exotic side, details on the design. The exotic sandbox that you're familiar with is about to change. Bungie's senior sandbox designer John Wisniewski on the hot seat to talk to us through the upcoming changes upon stream and on the blog. You may have actually seen some demonstrations of new and improved exotic weaponry this week. I did have a video on that a few days ago. Some of the changes have some nuance to them, so here he is again with the exact details on how our arsenal is evolving. John says, due to a lengthy update this week, I'm going to keep my section short. This will be the last exotic tease from me. After this week, you'll be playing with all the exotics with all the new changes. Now Risk Runner itself actually now has Arc Conductor increased resistance to incoming arc damage for 50% and enables it in the Crucible, which is cool. Arc Conductor will now activate when the weapon is stowed, but damage resistance will only work when the weapon is in your hands. Risk Runner was already a pretty strong gun in the PvE, now they're actually hoping for the changes to give it a place in the Crucible with the loadouts, strategies and counters. They also had sweet business, so I'll roll one clip after the other. So, yeah, 999 shots in sweet business is pretty cool, but other than that, it's amazing. If you actually have it synthesized with a good exotic chest plate, like one that actually allows you to reload weapons, then that in itself is going to be your best friend ever. And the Risk Runner, of course, is looking pretty decent. I want to see what it's like in PvE now, because that just looks amazing in PvP. And also, we can't actually leave out the Darcy sniper rifle, which I said they had to do some change to it, and well, I was not really anywhere close. What they did was they gave it a 4 times damage once locked onto a target. Exact scaling depends on activity, difficulty, light level, delta, and etc, etc. It shouldn't take a master strategist to figure out how this will actually benefit you in PvE, however it's actually going to be really good in PvP because it does have a good stat of aim assist, and itself is also being retuned so it gives a more generous when you haven't actually locked onto a target for a really good drag scope. It works out kind of well now, but it's going to work out a lot better with this update. So, as you can see, the Darcy sniper rifle is actually getting to become a beast now in PvE. I'm really excited to use it. Lastly, they did want to quickly acknowledge the whole team, which has actually been working really hard on getting the exotic weapons in the update 1.2.0 ready over the actual past few months. Which I do have to state, I have to grant these guys, you guys are amazing, as well as the testers and everyone that actually, worked with this to actually get it to become a better part with a bigger community. I'm really excited. Moving on there, we also have mixing things up a little. Destiny updates 1.1.2, 1.1.3, and 1.1.4 have brought quality of life changes to Destiny 2. Update 1.2.0 is almost here to bring more community requested features to the table. Now, senior investment designer Daniel Oceanpa, I just butchered your name, I'm very sorry, has details on the upcoming Heroic Strike modifiers and the new Legendary Nightfall Challenge card. He does state, in Season 3, Bungie has increased the baseline difficulty of Heroic Strikes to make combatants more aggressive and make the experience feel more, well, heroic. Additionally, at the given time, the Heroic Strike playlist will have 3 modifiers on it. 1 burn, which actually rotates weekly, 1 advantage, which rotates daily, and 1 disadvantage, which also rotates daily. That was a lot to say. Quick rundown of what you can actually expect in these categories are as followed. Burns. Arc Singe, Solar Singe, and Void Singe give you respectively 25% arc damage increase, 25% solar increase of damage, and 25% void damage increase to outgoing and incoming on all 3. As we know already, the advantages are Brawler, gives double melee charge rate and damage. Grenadier, double grenade ability recharge rate and damage, and Heavyweight, triple power ammo drop rates and double power weapon damage. Which these all sound amazing, but on the other hand we've got the disadvantages. We've got Glass, Breakout, Iron, and Grounded. Players' health and shields are halved, but recharge rates are doubled for Glass. Blockout is Radar is disabled and the enemies do 20 times increased more damage from a melee, which is just horrible because I'd hate to be hit by a knight. They also have iron is enemies no longer stagger and health pods are increased by 50%. And finally, players take 5 times damage while airborne with grounded. Now these all sound pretty cool, but moving on with the actual legendary Nightfall challenge card, with these in themselves are going to be almost the same, however just slightly more, challenging. Players will now be able to take their rare challenge card to Zor and upgrade it to a legendary challenge card. Doing so adds more customization options to the card. Legendary cards allow you to select 1 burn, 1 advantage and 1 disadvantage, and 2 additional disadvantages if wanted. With the exception of glass, all other advantages and disadvantages listed above from heroic strikes can be applied to the new challenge card. Additionally, there are a few disadvantages unique to the legendary challenge card, which are as followed. Unique challenge card disadvantages are Extinguished, Famine, Match Game, Attrition, and Momentum. Extinguish, retrospectively, is when the fire team all wipes, you return to orbit. Famine ammo drops reduced by 50%. Match game players must damage their damage type to the enemy type's shield, which is void to void shield, arc to arc, solar to solar. Match game in itself is horrible, yeah. Attrition, health regen is greatly slowed and enemies now drop health orbs as well as, dying when they die. Momentum in itself has health regeneration only when the player is moving, which is a little bit of a challenge, but it's not too hard. The Nightfall pass scores retrospectively have been changed as well to 30k, 60k, 110k and 200k. So all these tokens, the engram variants and auras that can be received from the following are still there. As a reminder, when you actually reach the new record pass scores for a specific Nightfall, you increase your chances to earn the associated Nightfall unique reward, which is pretty cool. I'm excited. Now, as I did state before that Eververse was getting a change, I was not expecting this, but it is really freaking cool. These are prismatic matrices. In the January development update, Bungie actually spoke of shifting the balance of vanity content in favor of activity rewards, rather than purely through Eververse. They have first addressed this balance by adding vanity rewards to Crucible, Nightfall strikes, and raid activities. To further improve the overall experience of Eververse, a new feature is being brought in, which is being called Prismatic Matrix. It will actually debut in Season 3. The features are as followed. Gives players more control over how they earn Eververse items. Offers a more predictable path each week that guarantees access to specific items, and drops fewer duplicate items, which I'm really hoping so because they're supposed to be a knockout rotation. So, at release, the Prismatic Matrix will feature 10 Eververse items from Season 3 each week it is activated. Each week within the Prismatic Matrix, it is on a knockout list, which means every player is guaranteed to receive all featured items for a given week by the 10th activation. Earning these items through bright engrams, bright dust or previous matrix activations will also have knockout rewards off the list. In turn, each activation guarantees players an item that they have never previously acquired, which that is pretty cool. I really like that. As well as they state, with the first well-rested level up each week, you will earn a prismatic faucet, allowing 1 free use of the prismatic matrix. Prismatic faucets can stack up to 3, so if you don't want to use one in the first week, you can set it for the second week or even for the third week, which is pretty freaking cool. It stacks again up to 3. Players can also purchase more of these activations for 200 silver of each of them. As well as outside of the prismatic matrix, players may continue to earn bright engrams each time they level up, and they can still purchase these engrams if they want a chance to get everything from the Season 3 catalog. Additionally, Bungie is increasing the number of items available from Test Eververse each week, with Bright Dust from 14 to 18 items. So that's cool. And finally, finishing things off, we have the Destiny 2 server maintenance, which actually will start the day before we have the Warmind in itself. It'll go offline. Destiny 2 will no longer be available from 6 AM, 7 AM until 11 AM. They're hoping it'll actually conclude. By that time, you'll be actually able to install Warmind on any platform that you have, whether it be PlayStation 4, Xbox One or PC. Retrospectively, 53GB for PlayStation 4 and 75GB for storage space needed for download. Xbox One is 50 and 50 on both the Destiny file and storage needed. The PC is 48GB as well as 68 storage space needed for download. So keep that in mind. There also is a few known issues one of them being the anti-extinction greaves. The female Titan Dead Orbit's leg pieces anti-extinction greaves may display a small visual issue. The exotic masterwork, once upgraded to a masterwork on an exotic weapon or armor piece, will no longer display as a masterwork when viewed from an exotic engram preview. So that's okay. Strike playlists, players are no longer able to matchmake into strikes from an expansion they do not own. Players will receive a prompt to purchase the needed expansion if they attempt to join a fire team, or players who own an expansion they do not own themselves. With Warmind, some quest items in the Warmind campaign may not show up in the loot stream of all fire team members. However, the quest item should still be added to the inventory of all fire team members. If players have a full engram inventory, they may not be able to accept some vendor quest items until they make space in their inventory, which I thought that was kind of already known. But yeah. An exotic armor tooltips. Bungie is aware of an issue in which the perk text on Warmind exotic armor tooltips appears in a different color than some of the actual similar gear pieces. This does not mean the players need to unlock these perks to be able to access them. And that pretty much is it. As DMG says, I think we're at 5 more sleeps until Warmind. Depends on your actual caffeine intake, which, as I just state, I've got my coffee sitting here, so that's cool. Tuesday, Warmind goes live at 11 AM. Friday, May 11th, and the Spire of Stars raid lair goes live at 10 AM. Who among you will take the challenge head on? Bungie will be watching and calling it a world's first for what they always do. Good luck to those people that are running it. As a reminder, Season 2 ends with the launch of Warmind. This means your final weekend to earn Season 2 rewards from the activities and bright engrams. Make sure to check with the Vanguard, Crucible, Iron Banner and Trials of the Nine for your last chance to earn Season 2 ornaments before they're gone. And that is pretty much it. Thank you for actually watching my video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Do all that good stuff down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. If you are a new viewer, hit that subscribe button because, well, you might want to see my content. I'm trying to get back into actually posting things daily, and with the Warmind coming up, I think it's going to be pretty freaking cool for me to actually, you know, get back into the rhythm of things. Even if it's not Warmind that I'm uploading, whether it's Fortnite, whether it be Titanfall, whether it be GTA 5, you guys will see. If you're a returning subscriber, if you're a returning viewer or whatever, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, by the way. As well, hit that bell because YouTube just is an asshole and they don't want to actually put my videos out into a lot of people's sub boxes for sometimes or some reasons. But anyway, hit the bell, get notified when I actually upload, do all that good stuff, and I'll be cheering like Karen if he was a cheering. But until next time, this is ZacNovak signing off. Peace out. Now, senior investment designer Daniel Oceanpa. Daniel Oceanpa